The $2 million inheritance shock. Picture this. You're 21 years old, barely scraping by, eating cereal for breakfast before another grueling shift at work. Your phone rings. Unknown number. You almost ignore it, but something tells you to pick up. That one phone call? It's about to flip your entire world upside down and expose 21 years of lies that will leave you speechless. This is exactly what happened to Austin, and trust me, you're not ready for this story. So there's Austin, living paycheck to paycheck, working at an auto parts store while trying to get through community college. His family. They've made it crystal clear his whole life that he's the odd one out. Why? Because they told him he was adopted. His parents, his siblings, everyone treated him like he was lucky they even tolerated his existence. Now, Austin's grandmother had passed away 6 months earlier. He wasn't even allowed at her funeral. His parents basically said, "You're not really family, so don't bother showing up." Brutal, right? But here's where it gets interesting. That Tuesday morning phone call was from Margaret Stevens, a lawyer. And she had news that would change everything. She needed to meet with Austin immediately about his grandmother's will. Austin's thinking, there's gotta be a mistake. My parents told me I wasn't in the will. They said everything was going to them and my brother. The lawyer just said, we definitely need to meet. 2 hours later, Austin's sitting in this fancy law office, staring at documents that make absolutely no sense. According to these papers, his grandmother had left him $2.1 million, her house, and several investment accounts. $2 million. To the kid they said wasn't even real family. Austin's still thinking it's some kind of error. He keeps telling the lawyer, my parents said I was adopted. They said my grandmother had no obligation to me. That's when Margaret Stevens, this kind-looking woman in her 60s, hands him an envelope. His name is written on it in his grandmother's handwriting. And this letter is about to blow apart 21 years of lies. His grandmother starts by saying she'd been trying to see him for 3 years, but his parents made it impossible. Then she drops the bombshell, you are not adopted. You are my biological grandson. Wait, what? Turns out, Austin's real mother was Jennifer. She was his father David's first wife, and she died in a car accident when Austin was just 2 years old. David remarried Susan 6 months later, and Susan? She never wanted Austin around. She wanted David to give him up for adoption so they could start fresh with their own kids. But here's the kicker, grandmother Eleanor fought for Austin. She threatened to take them to court for custody. She told them she'd expose what they were trying to do to the whole family, the whole community. They only kept Austin because she forced their hand. Every cruel word, every time they excluded him, every time they made him feel like he didn't belong. That was Susan's doing, and David's cowardice for going along with it. But it gets worse. The grandmother had been trying to maintain a relationship with Austin, but Susan made it impossible. She'd cancel visits, wouldn't let him answer phone calls, and eventually they moved across the state specifically to keep him away from her. The last time she saw Austin, he was 15 years old. She missed 6 years of his life because of their selfishness. Now here's something that'll blow your mind. The grandmother had hired a private investigator to keep track of Austin. She knew about the community college, the jobs, the apartment he could barely afford. She'd been watching over him from afar, caring about him when his own father couldn't be bothered. Meanwhile, David and Susan had been telling everyone that the estate would be divided equally among all the grandchildren. They'd been spending money they didn't have, expecting a massive inheritance. The father bought a new truck, $65,000. The mother remodeled their kitchen, $40,000. Austin's brother Logan got a boat for his birthday, $30,000. They were living way above their means. And Austin? He was working 50 hours a week, taking night classes, living on peanut butter sandwiches and instant coffee. So what did the family actually inherit? Each of Austin's siblings got $5,000. His parents? They got nothing. Absolutely nothing. The grandmother made it clear that David had forfeited his right to inherit when he chose his new wife over his own son. But here's the best part, the grandmother requested that the lawyer be present when Austin informed his family about the inheritance. She wanted a witness to their reaction. So picture this scene. Austin shows up at his parents' house the next evening with a lawyer and a cashier's check for $2.1 million in his jacket pocket. He hadn't been to the house in over a year, not since his father told him he was too old to be looking for handouts when he asked to borrow money for textbooks. Susan answers the door, and her expression immediately sours when she sees Austin. But when he mentions the will, everything changes. Suddenly they're all paying attention. The family's sitting there in their expensive living room, new furniture, new paint, new artwork on the walls. All bought with money they thought they'd inherit. When the lawyer announces she's there for Austin, the room goes dead silent. Austin stands up and delivers the news. He tells them he's not adopted. He tells them about his real mother Jennifer. He tells them about the $2.1 million. The silence that follows is deafening. His father's voice cracks as he says, "That can't be right. She promised us the estate would be divided equally." Austin looks at him and says, "She lied. Just like you lied to me for 21 years. Ashley, his sister, finally speaks up. "What about us? What do we get? $5,000 each." Logan explodes. "That's it. What about the house? What about all her money?" It all goes to Austin. Susan threatens to contest the will, but the lawyer shuts that down fast. The will is ironclad, witnessed by multiple parties, and the grandmother was evaluated by psychiatrists who confirmed her mental competency. When Austin's father tries to play the sympathy card, saying they never meant for things to go this way, Austin hits back, "Didn't you? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you got exactly what you wanted. You got rid of the inconvenient reminder of your first wife." Susan desperately tries to guilt him. "We raised you. We fed you, clothed you, gave you a roof over your head. Doesn't that count for something?" Austin's response is perfect. "You did the bare minimum required by law. And you made sure I knew every single day that I was unwanted." When Austin asks how much they spent thinking they'd inherit, the answer is devastating: about $200,000. As Austin and the lawyer head for the door, Ashley tries one last plea. "You're not really going to take everything, are you? We're still family." Austin turns back and delivers the final blow. "Family? You mean like how you included me in family photos? Oh wait. You didn't. Or like how you invited me to family vacations? Oh wait, you didn't do that either." When Logan suggests Austin could share the money, Austin's response is ice cold. "You want money? Get jobs, take out loans, figure it out." As they leave, Susan makes one last desperate attempt. "We made mistakes, but we're still your parents. Doesn't that mean anything?" Austin's final words cut deep. "David is my father. Jennifer was my mother. You're just the woman who married my dad and spent 21 years making me wish I'd never been born." 6 months later, Austin moved into his grandmother's house. It's beautiful, 4 bedrooms, huge kitchen, a garden she maintained until the very end. He found photos there he'd never seen before. Pictures of him as a baby with his real mother. Family gatherings where he looked happy and loved. He also found more letters from his grandmother written but never sent. Years of trying to maintain contact, birthday cards she bought but wasn't allowed to give him, Christmas presents that were returned unopened. Austin finished his degree in business administration and started a non-profit organization helping kids who age out of foster care. Kids who know what it's like to feel unwanted and alone. His father called exactly once since that day, asking if Austin would help them avoid foreclosure. Austin told him to contact his lawyer for anything financial. Susan sends Christmas cards every year with notes about family forgiveness. Austin throws them away unopened. Logan lost the boat, couldn't make the payments without the inheritance he was counting on. Ashley had to get a job to help her parents pay their bills. But here's the thing, the best part isn't even the money. As life-changing as it's been, the best part is the truth. For the first time in his life, Austin knows who he really is. He knows he was loved unconditionally by at least one person. He knows his real mother didn't abandon him, she was taken from him. Sometimes Austin sits in his grandmother's garden, reading her letters and looking through old photo albums, and he feels her presence. He feels the love she wasn't allowed to give him while she was alive. The truth, it turns out, is worth more than $2 million. Though the $2 million doesn't hurt either. This story shows us that karma has a way of catching up with people. Austin's family thought they could treat him like garbage for 21 years and still cash in on his grandmother's estate. Instead, their lies and cruelty cost them everything, while the person they tried to push away inherited it all. Sometimes the universe has a perfect sense of justice, and this is one of those times. If this story gave you chills like it did me, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible true stories that'll restore your faith in karma. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.